Special coverage this weekend as we mark 10 years since Hurricane Katrina. Iconic, heartbreaking images of the destruction. Whole neighborhoods wiped out, Americans stranded on rooftops pleading for help. Eyewitness News was on the ground in the days that followed. Tonight, our Brian Yacono reconnected with a Red Cross volunteer we first met a decade ago.
John Burnap now dedicates his time to emergency and storm preparedness. It's a career shift he made after he found himself managing community services, food and shelter for hundreds of thousands of people immediately after the storm.
This is so far beyond any agency. Us, FEMA, the local folks. It's so far beyond what anybody had anticipated.
This was our interview with John Burnap on the ground at the Gulf Coast. A Red Cross volunteer himself from Westerly, he managed thousands of other volunteers to get 330,000 meals and snacks to storm survivors every day. He describes an 80,000 square foot warehouse near the airport.
Of course, it has a hole in the roof in one piece of it, and one of the sprinklers is still blowing water out the side. We carved out the dry spot, said, this is ours now. This is our new indoor shelter.
Now, 10 years later, I caught up with Burnap in Providence, where he says the memories are old, yet he remembers them like the storm was yesterday.
And I vividly remember a house sitting in the middle of a railroad tracks, a house sitting in the middle of a gas station. And these are all things that I didn't see on TV. I witnessed them personally.
Burnap tells me it looked as if 100 lumber yards exploded, wood from houses, broken trees, and debris as far as the eye could see.
They had hundreds of these big metal containers for shipping containers. They got picked up and dropped in neighborhoods a mile inland, crushing houses. That how much it was 23 feet of water. That was the wall of water that moved inland.
His time on the Gulf changed him, returning a few times since the storm. Burnap says he's helped create new emergency plans and says we all must be prepared to help ourselves when disaster hits.
All of these stately houses used to be there, and what was there now, post-Katrina, was just the cement foundations, and that was it. Everything else had been washed away, and this was either a quarter mile to up to 3 miles inland.
Here at home, especially being a coastal state, Burnap tells me the best thing you can do is understand the threat where you live. Are you in an evacuation zone? And where would you go if you had to evacuate? In the newsroom, Brian Yacono, Eyewitness News.